Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new edition of VLGA Connect, and I'm very, very pleased to have a long-time friend of local government joining me on the program today. He's the new CEO of the Latrobe Valley Authority, but he's known to us quite well, as I said, Chris Buckingham. Hello, Chris.
G'day, Chris. Great to see you again. It's been a while.
It has, and great to see you too. Last time we spoke, you were the CEO of Casey Cardinia Libraries, and you've made a pretty significant career change since then.
Yeah, it feels like every time we talk, I've made another change. But yes, certainly. And look, I love my time with libraries, and indeed that work with Public Libraries Victoria as well was, it was a transformative experience for me, and really allowed me to connect with a sense of purpose within a community setting, and yeah, lovely grassroots work. This job's a little bit different, but still laden with purpose. Have a role providing leadership in a regional context for the Latrobe Valley and indeed surrounding local government areas, particularly as we navigate our way through transition, which is going to be significant and profound in Gippsland over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yes. So before we talk a bit about the authority and its work, why this role for you at this particular time in your career, Chris? What appealed to you about it?
Oh, look, I think I've been in various CEO roles for probably and the like for the last 10 or 15 years. Most of that work has been in Melbourne, and not many people know, but I actually am a Gippsland boy. I live in Ellenbank, which is a very beautiful part of West Gippsland, not far from Warragul on the Stresleckies. And and particularly with the Casey Cardinia Library work, where I was embedded in community and sitting in libraries with people and actually sort of experiencing that grassroots sense of connection, there's nothing quite like the opportunity to do good work on your home patch. And, it's an 18-month opportunity, so it's relatively short. But I think just that opportunity to come back and actually influence the direction of the region, provide some positive leadership, and help unite the tribes of Gippsland in response to what will be a challenging yet really interesting time.
Well, that's really the role of the authority, isn't it? You're there to aid this notion of economic transition across the Latrobe Valley and Gippsland more generally. So this is really a significant sort of generational change that's happening, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge. And look, it's like tectonic plates in the regional development context. So what we've got obviously is the gradual closure of the brown coal-fired power industry. The flip side to that is we've got massive investment coming down the line for renewable energy, particularly wind energy, but also a bit of solar as well. And one of the things I wasn't aware of before coming into this role, Latrobe Valley also has enormous geothermal reserves that are quite accessible. So there are a number of things on the new energy front that are really exciting. I think the community itself is recognising the need to add value to supply chains. So when I say that, I mean, I'm talking about food and fibre in particular. So we've been really good at producing milk and timber and beef and a range of other agricultural products, but our capacity to add value has been relatively limited because we haven't needed to add value. I think as we become more mature as a region, we've got to identify ways and opportunities for innovation, ways of adding value that go beyond bulk goods, frankly, and really exciting times.
This authority model for the Latrobe Valley, is there anything else like this elsewhere in Victoria, or is it unique to this region?
It's a unique model, Chris. In fact, I don't think there's anything quite like it in Australia. I think the Victorian government realised that a sustained approach to transition was required in the Latrobe Valley, and they created this entity because they wanted their response to be more nimble and responsive. They wanted a place-based response critically. So they were adamant about the need for locals making decisions for locals, so in other words, by Gippsland for Gippsland. They completely got that. So yes, it's a new model of operation, and I think we're just about to hit our straps in terms of the way that we work with key stakeholders in the region and present that united, harmonious approach to regional development.
So just before we go on to that stakeholders issue, just take us back. It's 4 or 5 years ago that the authority was created.
Yeah,
Am I right?
yeah. It was created directly in response to the closure of Hazelwood
Yeah.
Power Station. So 2016-17.
And what has it managed to achieve in that short time thus far?
Oh, wow. Well, it's been incredible. So, and I should probably chunk up the work. So in the first instance, there was the response to the closure and supporting the workforce and indeed the community around Hazelwood in terms of finding jobs or new pathways to business or indeed retirement. So that whole initial response to what was quite an emotional time for the region and the community more broadly. Very clearly now we're in what I would describe as recovery. So it's about actually helping fund programs and initiatives that actually will help boost the economy. And there's been significant investment through the LVA in local recreational infrastructure, most notably swimming pools, indoor stadiums, football ovals, cricket ovals, tennis courts, that sort of thing.
Yes.
But there's also been quite a bit of work done around how we improve local procurement practices. So we've got a preponderance or a significant number of large businesses either in the region or coming into the region. How do we make sure that actually we help local business tap into that and do business successfully with them? So it's a project called Grow Gippsland. The other piece, and I think this is just as important, if not more so, is about how we build resilience in the community. So if you break, as I say, chunk it up into response, recovery, and resilience, this resilience piece for us right now is a key focus. And that's how we empower community and business to have conversations with government about how they see the future of the region. And somebody did a desktop survey of the number of plans in Gippsland, and dare I say it, I think there are 300 plans produced in various shapes or forms in the last 20 years. So while we recognise the need for plans because they provide a platform for accountability, I think at the same time, we've got to make sure that when we work out our strategic directions, and we have done, that they're evidence-based, but the community has some sense of ownership of them as well.
So let's talk about the intersection with local government, if we can, because clearly you're working on things that are very important to councils as well and alliances like One Gippsland. How does your authority fit into that broader picture?
Yeah, look, I think that for the region to prosper, all three levels of government need to work together cooperatively. My first priority has been engaging with local government CEOs and councils, particularly Wellington, Bawbaw and Latrobe, because they're the sort of the defined area in which we operate. But having that and One Gippsland is the consortium of 6, and I think it's important that the LVA understands that we're operating in the Gippsland context, not just Latrobe Valley itself. But that relationship with local government is critical. And I think, if I was to cast my mind back 4 or 5 years ago when the LVA was created, I dare say there were a few raised eyebrows in the sense of, well, why don't you just give this work to the local government and fund them? Or why don't you give this work to the regional branch of the Regional Victorian and fund them more to roll it out? The decision was the decision at the time. And I think we're reaching a level of maturity within the region where we recognise, once again, that if we work together, we're unstoppable. But if we spend our time arguing about which way is up or how T's are crossed and who stole whose ducks 20 years ago, people won't listen to us and we won't be effective. And Chris, I made, I think, my name in Gippsland probably some 12, 15 years ago, working in the tourism industry. And my role was to unite the tribes and get small business across the region working together. We did that successfully. And the key to it is recognising that parochialism is a form of energy. It's a passion, but it's a negative form of passion. And you actually only have to shift it a few degrees just to turn it into straight out passion, which we've got plenty of down here. So we have plenty of parochialism. But if we can turn that sort of slightly negative worldview into a more positive one and realise that a problem shared is a problem halved, that when your neighbour is successful, you should celebrate that rather than get angsty about it, and learn from them and learn from them and try and work out how you might be successful as well. So a far more positive mindset, you get results. And I know it's a cliche, but I think, for regions to be successful, people have got to be prepared to work together to grow the cake. If you find yourself fighting for share, you're on a short track to despair.
So does the Latrobe Valley Authority have a finite life, Chris, or is the government commitment to this open-ended and ongoing?
I think the LVA does have a finite life. I just don't know that its finite life is coming to a close anytime soon. And the reason I say that is because everybody recognises we have a solid 10 years of transition in front of us. We've got forestry going through complete restructure at the moment. Yallourn 28, Loy Yang A, Loy Yang B, any time between now and 2040. But, if you look at the AEMO reports, it's more likely to be 2032 and around that mark. And of course, oil and gas is coming offline. And the flip to that, and I think this is the positive narrative, is that with all this additional investment in new energy, there's a piece of work in terms of actually joining the dots and ensuring workforce transition successfully across to new industry where possible, but also that we as a region are prepared for a massive influx of investment. So it's requiring a different mindset. So yes, I think the LVA has a role providing leadership and transition for some time to come. And yeah, I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
Chris, with your background in tourism, local government, libraries more specifically very recently, and being a Gippsland boy, as you say, this must feel like the perfect culmination of a career path for you.
It's day 30 on the job, and I'm still smiling, Chris. I get out of bed every morning and can't believe that I'm back on ground, working with people that I've known for many years, and indeed people who I've not met before, but share that passion and enthusiasm for the region. It's a wonderful place. It's a sweet spot for me right now. And look, I've learned throughout my career, as you point out, very gently, I've had a number of different gigs over the journey. I just learned, I think at this age and stage of my career, you just enjoy each day. And if you've got purpose in your work and you can see the value in what you're doing, you're actually providing return on investment for your employer, then stick at it for as long as you can. You're happy, I say. So yeah, it's a good place. I'm very, very pleased.
That's so good. Well done. Now, I know we've grabbed you between meetings, so thank you, Chris. I look forward to hearing about your successes as you really get into the role, as you say, day 30 on the ground. So all the very best to you, and thanks for keeping in touch, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Chris. Much appreciated.
I've been talking with Chris Buckingham, the new CEO of the Latrobe Valley Authority and still a good friend to local government, here on this episode of VLGA Connect.